hapon! Merry Christmas! Good afternoon to all people leaders wherever you are. Kung nasaan ka man naroon sa Pilipinas at sa buong mundo, welcome to People Manager on Cam, the online show of the People Management Association of the Philippines, the premier association of HR professionals and people managers in the Philippines. My name is Joanne. I'm the Asia Pacific Customer Success Manager of Leah Harrison, and I am your host for today. So excited to be with you all on this beautiful afternoon. This is the online show of PMAP, and we have 4 segments. I'm so excited. This is our last episode for the year, but we have so much to learn from our guests today. So we will have 4 segments, and that will follow the 4 acronyms, the 4 letters of PMAP. So we will have People Watch, letter P. We will highlight where we highlight our peers, leaders in the HR and business, and also upcoming talents in the community. And then the second segment, letter M, for must. It enables us to be updated with the current issues, urgencies that are non-negotiables for people leaders like us. And of course, the third segment, letter A, for anticipate this, things, events, ideas, or innovation or breakthroughs that we all need to look forward to. And the fourth segment, letter P, for perk your heart, we will be excited with health and wellness, lifestyle tips, fashion trends, or hobbies for leaders like us. For our last episode for this year, we will celebrate diversity, equity, inclusion, and belongingness. Yes, you heard that right. We are going to focus on DEI. And as we begin this show, I would like to invite you stay with us until 2 p.m. And we would love to hear your thoughts. Send out your comments or questions in the comments section. If you have any questions for our guests, we would love to hear from you. All right, so let's get going. I'm so excited for our episode for today. Let's get to our first segment. I'm so excited to introduce you to this segment. I'm so happy because we have our host for this segment, the managing director for Idea Central, and also our editor-in-chief of the People Manager magazine. Here is Mr. Jovenir Bataican. Take it away, Sir Jove.
Good afternoon, Ms. Joanne. Thank you so much for this opportunity to have me again here for this December episode of People Manager on Cam. We are so honored to have with us a special guest. She is the Assistant Division Head of Monroe Consulting Group Asia. Please welcome Ms. Frylene Corilla. Magandang hapon po, Ms. Fry.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure having you here. Yeah, you guys are all amazing. Thanks for inviting me. Well, we will talk about more into people management, right? So we will talk
Yes.
about which talents are in demand nowadays or this coming 2023. What are the
Mhm.
competences and sectors? Now, since I'm from Monroe Consulting Philippines, and we are actually an international award-winning executive search, and our specialty is actually headhunting, yeah,
Mhm.
and database search. And we do actually study also the people's mobility and of course the market trends per sector, which is one of our unique selling points because we are the only executive search who are specializing not only in skills and competences but also in market trends of different sectors, which is my division industrial. We
Mhm.
also have health, professional, IT, and consumer goods. Now,
Yeah.
just to share you the trends now, many people and foreign companies are ramping up their permanent tech recruiting in 2022 as
Okay.
the economy of the Philippines become more reliant on digital channel services and online transaction. This is
Mhm.
actually a driving requirements for flexible RPO and payroll solutions. Yeah, organizations need to move fast and enhance their salary and benefits packages if they want to snap up, tech talents. Speeding up the recruitment process is also seen as a key talent attraction differentiator. So many organizations are partnering with specialist recruiters such as who can carry out all technical skills assessment for job applications. Now, the majority of the job seekers are only consider remote working opportunities, especially when pandemic came and the freedom that comes with the working from anywhere option. So
Mhm.
while most companies are accommodating this work patterns, organizations in some sectors, of course, notable telecoms still require office for hybrid arrangements given the nature of the work. And this is actually a breaking news. On the tech world, Apson International Corporation, or what we call GYC, the biggest PC and IT products retailer in the Philippines, filed for about 5 billion IPO this last May of 2022, and it's planned to open 250 stores in the next 3 to 5 years. Imagine that, no? There will be a lot of opportunities for those IT talents. And of course, the countering cyber threats for this is the digital transformation and innovation programs, of course, are accelerating at the fast pace in the Philippines, which has been lead to sustain hiring IT professionals. There has also been a rise in the demand for data roles across a range of sectors, including fintech, e-commerce, health tech, and even educational tech and telco.
Just
So
try.
demand
I
is,
would like to ask
yeah,
you very briefly, Leno. You mentioned
yeah.
the demand for the technology sectors, and I think we are at the ebbing stage of the Great Resignation, and people are now going into the Great Realization. They badly need jobs as 2023 comes in. What are the top three skills that our people need to know if they want to be more competitive again in the marketplace? In top three lang po.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. The programming languages is very in demand right now. No, the Java,
Okay.
the
Mm-hmm.
SAP, and of course the Oracle itself. So most of the sectors in IT, yeah, they do
Mm-hmm.
require that the Java
Mm-hmm.
skills, Oracle, and of course like the C++, C sharp, and they
Yeah.
also have being in a programmer. They also have several what they call this certificate that they need to what they call this certified in a certain training, but especially those companies require those are coming from BPO or any like a semiconductor company which is
Oh,
a
okay.
certified,
The
yeah,
only,
QMS.
yeah, the only Java I know is Java Coffee. So, pwede natin medyo mahirap ano. So, what,
Java,
what about the other? What about the
MSQL,
other?
yeah.
Yung mga allied skills po, like aside from, we know that technology is really getting the headway, but what about the other skills? Yung hindi inclined sa technology, what would you suggest? Ano pong pwede nilang develop the skills?
Development skills, I think more in also in business development. Yeah, not only like for related to ID, but nowadays the in demand skills most likely in a company since pandemic actually arises. That was 2 years ago. So business
Mhm.
development and marketing is actually
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the in demand position nowadays, especially this
Yes.
coming year of 2023. Well, we can feel that the demand for marketing, sales, and business development are now thriving. It's because of course they wanted to grow again their business despite of the loss.
Uh,
Yeah, especially those real estate company, construction, and even
yes.
manufacturing company they do, and even chemical company actually, chemical and chemical industry as well.
Wow. So it's wide open in terms of opportunities, right?
It's wide open. Yes, yes.
You mentioned marketing and branding. If if I were the employer, for example, and I want to attract more talents into my company, what would be the top three tips that I need to do in terms of making
Yeah,
myself really attractive?
yeah, okay. Just to tell you, since 2 years ago, a lot of companies are implementing working from home setup, hybrid. This is
Yes.
actually one of the, yeah, you can attract talent for this, like the working from home setup,
Hmm.
flexible working from home setup or any hybrid. And especially of course, if you can also offer, let's say for example, if you're going to offer this position and if your location is not likely like, far from metro or in south or in central zone or any part of the Philippines, most probably like a transportation allowance, and also like what they call this upgrade in terms of the health card. So yeah, and then also in terms of the benefits itself, it's somehow like it needs to be more catchy compared to the previous market itself.
Hmm.
So the organization needs to know what are the needs of the candidates, why they are actually exploring a new opportunity outside the market. Yeah, it's either the benefits, it's either of course benefit salary, it's either the culture, or it's either the location, or it's either the working from home setup. This is
Hmm.
actually needs to something that they need to do to attract candidates because based on
Paano
the
po,
experience that, yeah.
paano po yung sa manufacturing and hospitality, they cannot probably resort to the flexible working arrangement because they have.
Unfortunately, manufacturing are actually 100% workforce, yeah, but there are some like back office positions that don't require on-site
Mm.
jobs. Sometimes they do hybrid, sometimes they do working from home setup. But in our case, our sector is actually more into executive search, which can be done at home. But then, if in case that we need to meet clients in person, then we need to go on site. So yeah, for manufacturing, it's not really like 100% applicable to working from home, no, due to the
Yes.
volume of the organizations, especially for the healthcare itself. Now,
Mhm.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yes, in terms of the dynamics, in, like you mentioned, flexibility in terms of
Yeah,
benefit. Ano pa po
flexibility.
yung
Mhm.
attractive na benefit? For example, hindi ka pwedeng mag-work from home. If you can do work from home arrangement, what will
Yeah,
tilt in favor of other benefits that you can get?
in favor of other benefits. Well, it will be attractive if a company can offer like accommodation package. Yeah,
And
somehow this person needs to travel every day. Though Philippines is one of the most we're very famous in terms of traffic. No, sometimes we
yes,
can't handle the traffic here in the Philippines. So even nasa Metro Manila ka lang, for example, you're living in Quezon City and your job is in BGC, sometimes
hmm
nata-traffic ka talaga. It's not really actually manageable because sometimes
yes,
we also have mga employees na galing din sa mga ganung lugar like Valenzuela, Quezon City, or Caloocan, and then they need to report in the office. Sometimes nalilate sila, especially from Bulacan. So better like to be attractive, it's more like accommodation package if they can
hmm
offer like staff house,
yes,
which is like a walking distance from the
the
reporting
offices,
location. Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
Is it possible to, can companies be flexible enough to make their employees work within the nearest branch or the nearest office para hindi na sila
Yeah. It's possible if the company also have different branches in Metro. Yeah. But for those companies that are only have one entity in the Philippines or office in the Philippines,
lang
then
visa,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, and some employees or some candidates actually that's their first question during the interview. That's their first question. Let's say for example, tapos na yung interview, no. So if the interviewer said, "Do you have any question?" Ang tatawagin nila, what will be the setup of the job? So is it a
Yeah,
working from home,
yes.
hybrid, or on-site
Mhm.
ba ako? Ganon. So tinatanong talaga nila yon because people already set their mind that they don't like to travel anymore.
Yes,
Gano'n,
exactly.
every day. Parang di na sila nasanay or whatsoever. Yeah, but not candidates are like that. There's still candidates that are flexible enough. They still wanted to do the same way before nung hindi pa
Mhm.
nag-pandemic.
Ang
But
gusto ko kasi,
based on, yeah,
yes, ang gusto ko kasi ma'am is work like home. Hindi yung work from home. Work like home, which
work
is,
like home.
I was really proud. That's great.
Okay.
Generation po, Generation Z, your generation, magkasing edad na siguro kayo, the Generation Z.
I'm still in millennials.
The young and the restless. How do we get their attention? Specifically, that
Oh,
generation.
the attention of those Gen Z, yes. Well, actually, the thing, the major, I mean, I think the thing that they can attract those generation is most probably is, of course, the benefits as well as the position title and the location,
Mhm.
because
Okay.
some of those generations are actually not that flexi. They're still new in the corporate world, so they don't have any idea kung ano yung aabutan nila sa corporate world, no? Because sometimes it's like salindila, no? You need to apply in this company because this company can offer like this kind of benefits.
Mhm.
Ganon. So they
Yeah,
also have like think like that. So sometimes those people think that I need to get this salary because somebody said that this is the market right now.
exactly.
Especially those in mga top 5 universities,
Mhm.
I mean, their market is really different compared to others. Sometimes their market is actually like with a 2 to 3 years experience, same level with like same level as like that, no? Somehow with
Okay.
experience. Mm-mm.
Yes. Miss
And then yung
Fry,
the kaka-attract sa kanila is the position title itself. Position
yes.
title. Yeah.
So you have to be very creative with the position title. Pala, ano?
Mhm.
Okay. Miss
You
Fry,
have to.
we short on time as always, and it's so engaging to speak with you. Your
Yeah.
last words for this segment.
Last word for this segment. Okay. So, by the way, I wish all the best to those candidates who gonna apply this year, 2023. I know there are a lot of opportunities out there. in all sectors, especially in IT world, and then followed by industrial, even for construction, manufacturing, and even for energy, power, and chemicals. They do also have a lot of opportunities in professional services. Those are banking and finance, and even
Yes.
for like real estate. And we also have opportunities for consumer and health, definitely. So best of luck. And you guys need to prepare during the interview. Yeah, time is really important because first impression lasts. So dapat if in case atin kayo ng interview, you need to be on time 50 minutes before the call time.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Division Head of Manuro Consulting Group Asia, Miss Frylene Corilla. Maraming
Thank you
maraming
so much
salamat.
for having me here. My pleasure. Thanks, Mr.
And
Joe.
thank you. And
Thank
that
you.
is the state of attracting. Back to you, Miss Joanne.
So much. Thank you so much, Miss Frylene Carrillo. We really appreciate your insights, and it's so encouraging that that the economy is recovering now. That I mean, hopefully, COVID is really over now. But so exciting that opportunities are now abound, and we can now pursue a lot. There are so many things that we can now consider, and that's really very encouraging. One thing that I picked up from what Miss Frylene said is that companies has to really be ready to move outside the box in terms of attracting talent. So this is really a war for talents now. So I really appreciate your insights there. Thanks a lot, Ms. Frylene. We will now move on to our second segment. And again, if you have any questions or comments, please let us know. Type in your questions, type in your comments, and we will be happy to hear your thoughts. Let's have a conversation about our topic this afternoon. So moving on to our second segment, Must. I'm so excited to welcome, and he's back with us. So happy to be that you are with us again. So let us welcome the Talent Development Manager of New World Makati Hotel, Mr. Gilbert Gatdula. Hi, Gilbert. Welcome back.
Good afternoon,
Good.
Joanne, and good afternoon to our viewers. It's fun to be back here in People Manager on Cam. A terrific afternoon to all our viewers today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Gilbert, and I will be your segment host for Must, where the events and current affairs that you simply cannot miss are in the spotlight. And for our Must this month, in celebration of Mental Health Wellness Month, we give importance to mental health wellness of our viewers. Now, to join us in talking about innovation driven leadership, we have the co founder and president of Thames International Business School, Mr. Joel Santos. Mr. Joel Santos, good afternoon.
Hi, Gilbert. Nice to be here. Thank you for the PMAP community for having me.
I hope you are having a very wonderful afternoon, sir. Would you like to introduce yourself to our viewers, sir?
Maybe I'll just do that in the presentation because that's also part of my introduction.
Okay, all right. Now, we have a very interesting topic here, Mr. Joel, because we're talking about mental health wellness in the workplace. And we have prepared some questions that the viewers.
Sorry, Gilbert. I was going to present first, and I think the questions should be later.
Okay,
I have a presentation.
sure. All right. Now, for the benefit of our viewers, we will be talking about the mental health wellness in the workplace. So, Mr. Joel, please take it away.
Okay. Maybe there's a bit of I think that was in the topic brief to me, but let's work through that. So, because I was going to talk about disruption and innovation. But then, anyway, we're in a VUCA world, so everything can change accordingly. So just a quick thing, I'll just share. When we were talking about disruption and innovation as a topic, particularly moving on from the pandemic, I cannot say anything more because I'm already in the company of experts. So maybe the most that I can do is just share my journey particularly in disruption and innovation. So as a matter of introduction, sorry, this doesn't work this way. Anyway, sorry. I'll just share my slides, Martin, instead of this, please. Sorry again.
We'd like to acknowledge that we have currently some viewings from Facebook, LinkedIn. So magandang hapon to all those who are joining us. this afternoon, and we're talking about mostly innovation, which is a very important topic as we transition from the pandemic. Yeah. So I think very interestingly, we're going to talk about innovation and how it's merit actually in terms of the mental health in the workplace. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm having technical issues. So why don't we just go through the StreamYard upload, Martin? Sorry, let's just do it and we'll just swing it. So a little bit about me. So I'm going to talk about my journey, but on the next slide, you'll see without the animation that, you know, my visual is really a roller coaster, showing how from an introduction, I first worked in PNG, then I became a venture cap. Then we got hit with the Asian financial crisis, so the roller coaster went down. And then after that, I started Thames International School, and things did very well. And then another crisis happened with the dollar and the Arab situation, and then we went down. And so up and down, right? So kind of that's how our careers are for the past years for me in particular. But I returned to Thames in 2018, and then just to give a background, Thames as a school as an international college means you can graduate anywhere. You start 2 years in the Philippines and you graduate in the UK, Australia, Singapore, the US. So basically, I relaunched the school again. Guess where? February 2020, and I guess you know what happened. So since as a school, all of our students are supposed to travel and finish abroad, by March 2020, nobody could travel. So what came out as supposedly the next 25 years and everything being strong, again, there was another crisis. So that's the world we live in. We launched a product that was not applicable in the pandemic because no student could go to the UK, Singapore, Australia. So we were stuck. So what did we do? So I said, am I going to go through another life like this of a roller coaster life? So there are two types of passengers in a roller coaster, right? What makes the difference between the one who is so happy in the roller coaster or the one who's actually screaming unhappily? The first thing is actually knowing the why you rode the roller coaster in the first place. And so at the heart of the pandemic, we said, why are we really here? Why are we in Thames or in the Jays? Because, our wise help people achieve their God-given resources and potential. So with that, encouraged by my alumni, both in the Philippines and the UK, I said, it's about the why. So our why, the school's why, forced us to innovate in the pandemic. And so we did a fast track to EduTech. EduTech means it's the conversion of technology, education, and training. So you basically use tech delivery, global university content from our partners all over the world, and then you adjust it to the Philippine context. So in the pandemic, we ended up training for DepEd, for example, 120,000 teachers. We trained them how to go online. For DTI, we help companies migrate from not knowing e-commerce to e-commerce, if not they'll close down. We helped the PTTC set up the logistics and supply chain industry skills framework because that was the biggest challenge. For DOT, we trained 750 general managers in the hotels and resorts how to open safely. And now currently we're helping, we've been contracted by the United Nations to do capacity building for the creative industry. So basically our why stayed the same and guided us to innovate by expanding our classroom, and looking for new students. They're not anymore the college student, but we ended up having quote unquote students from industry or the government. So as my point is that as PMAP and THEMS, we are all about people, organizations. What are we looking at as a roller coaster for 2023? One is complexity. Right? We have 3 generations in an organization. You have the Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Z. How do you manage all of them together? Next roller coaster, Gen Z's requirement of new ways of working. That was the discussion before this, right? They want to work in a different environment. And finally, I think the biggest roller coaster moving 2023 is that the pandemic required us to have new business models. Do the skills of the current workers in the organization meet the post-pandemic business models? So there's definitely a skills gap. And all throughout, during the disruption, basically as an institution, as an organization, we always let our why lead our innovations. So that has been our driving force as we navigated through this one. So I was just going to end with a video saying that November 28th, 2 weeks ago, I was in the UK. And I was in graduation of one of our students who made it through the pandemic by going to the UK. So they were able to brave it out. Despite the pandemic, one of our students, actually two of them, made it and graduated in the UK. So parang the why is still fulfilled. So that's my short presentation, and we can go through the questions. Thank you very much.
Mr. Joel, I'd like to point out that I attended and I actually enrolled my general manager then for the training for the Department of Tourism, and really appreciate how helpful these trainings were, especially for the hospitality industry. Now, Mr. Joel, due to the interest of time, I'll be very direct with my questions. We have prepared at least 2 questions here to ask about our topic, innovation. Now, firstly, can you share with us how you drive innovation in your organization today?
There are 2 ways to drive change. One is fear. The other one is opportunity.
Okay.
So in the pandemic, as a school, the first fear was, are we going to close down? Because like left and right schools were closing down in the pandemic. If you guys have seen it, about 400 schools closed down in the pandemic. If you want to know the numbers.
Yeah.
So there was fear among everybody. Are we going to be one of them? But of course, I said, no, it's an opportunity. Why is it an opportunity? Because it's an opportunity to do the changes we have wanted to do for such a long time. We've wanted to do online for long. We were already online for 2018, but we wanted to do more online. So this allowed us. So that was our opportunity. We've always wanted to be hybrid. This was the opportunity. So instead of fear, we embraced the opportunity that this can bring. So that's my first driver. Not the fear, but sometimes you may have to use the fear. Hey, if you don't change, we might close down. But you got to balance it out, right?
And I think fear rooted into creativity, because there are several ways now, there are several infrastructures to be creative for education, for at least, and that helps us survive and thrive in such a difficult time. Now, this is my second question, Mr. Joel. With your story of innovation, what are the things you have discovered about the customers and the clients that you have?
I know a lot of the I think the reason we did well in the pandemic, right, relatively, was we went and asked our customers first what they needed, particularly. So we moved from, a traditional school will have, these are programs, take it, right? Take it or leave it. In the pandemic, we developed so many bespoke and customized programs. We went and really did a whole design thinking approach and worked it from the point of view of the customer. So that was really how a lot of the projects were developed. So we took a design thinking approach, took a point of view from the customer, and then we worked backwards.
I'm hearing 2 thoughts, Mr. Joel. I remember with your sharing your why. It's very important because the why propels you, and it's very purposive, the why. And I think this is married with the what of your customers. When we establish the why and the what of our customers, I think we provide resolutions to problems. There is convergence, and there are new ideas and creative ideas that we were able to generate. Now, Mr. Joel, for the benefit of our people managers who are watching our show this afternoon, this is my final question. What role do you see HR and people leaders play in leading innovation in any organization? Ano daw po ba yung mga dapat nilang matandaan?
I think the first one is to relook culture. The culture is going to change because not everybody is now physically present. We can't help it. I'm part of this CEO organization. We're all talking about we're having really mass resignations, right? And it's not because of pay. They just want a different environment. So how are you going to manage a culture when not everybody's present? It's so easy to manage culture when everybody's together physically.
Yes.
So that, I think, is the critical point. You have to really find the way to build the culture that you want in a new environment where everybody's not face to face and not in the same place. Right? I mean, multinationals had that challenge being in different offices. But now
Yeah.
you're not just talking about different offices, you're talking about different ways of working.
Mm.
How do
There are
you build
different
that?
dimensions. There are different
Yes.
environments in which you need to inculturate, right? And I think the human resources and the people leaders and the management team, they are the ones who would really lobby and champion the culture, right? They create the culture themselves. Now,
Yeah.
Mr. Joel, on a final note, how would you define innovation for the benefit of our listeners here in the show?
Sige. Let's do because I think I wanna also address that there's a question in the chat group. But so let me define innovation. I hope we can also answer the question in the chat group. So for me, innovation from a layman's term in practical sense, innovation is just really, uh, retooling, upskilling, and then reinventing yourself,
Okay.
both yourself and the organization. It actually starts from the person and not the organization. Sometimes
Mhm.
they look at the organization first, but then in the few companies that I led, I tried to fix the organization in terms
Mhm.
of let's innovate. And I realized if the people themselves are not in the innovation mindset, then the
Mhm.
organization cannot innovate. So
Mhm.
that's why I start with the self.
Yeah. And I think innovation or any initiative for that matter, the efforts should be concerted for it to be successful because if you are not moving in one accord, it's hard to move in
Exactly.
towards
Exactly. There's so many subcultures actually in a company. And how do you
yeah.
bring everybody in one, right?
Mm. Mr. Joel, you have pointed out there's one question in the chat box,
Yeah.
and we are blessed with your time here. Let me read the question in the chat box. What in the organization helped drive innovation? And what are the barriers, and how did you address it?
So, as I mentioned, there are two ways, right? One is
Mm,
opportunity, one was fear. So, right away, there was the first thing that the whole organization felt the pandemic was fear.
mhm,
I really had to move it from fear to opportunity. And that
mhm,
was a challenge. So, the way I did that was helping the organization move from a feeling and mindset of fear to opportunity was to
mhm,
map out the opportunities I saw, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
then have them validate it themselves. So I said, I
mhm.
see these opportunities. Tell me if you see the same thing. So
Yeah.
bringing your team, diba, to look at the situation from the same lens was critical.
Mhm,
That was what we concentrated on the first 2 months,
mhm.
and I think that was what brought us forward.
Mr. Joel, from an industry that was benefited by your initiative for innovation through the Department of Tourism, nagpapasalamat po kami for your time and your expertise in
Thank
sharing
you,
here
Gilbert. Yeah,
People
such a great
Manager.
moderator.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Joel. Now, I'll be turning back the floor to our main moderator, Joan. Joan, over to you.
Thank you so much, Gilbert and Sir Joel. Thanks a lot for your wisdom. Really appreciate that. I like what you said about really has to start with the why are you in the roller coaster, and innovation is indeed a roller coaster, right? So there's just ups and downs, and thanks a lot. I love what you said about having the mindset starting with the individual and making sure that everyone would look at the situation from the same lens. Thank you. Really full of wisdom there. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Again, for our viewers, wherever you are, please let us know questions or thoughts about what we are talking about this afternoon. And now we will go on to our third segment. I'm so excited. We will now talk about the mega trends of the future of the workforce. And I'm so excited, happy that she is available again to join us this afternoon, the founder and CEO of Movimentum Leadership and Management Consultancy, the ever reliable, our favorite coach, Miss Jacqueline Louie. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Joanne, and Merry Christmas. No?
Merry
So,
Christmas.
yeah, nice to see you in red. All right. So, malipayong Pasko ug mabunghang bag-ong tuig sa tanan. So, Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year to all of you. I am Jacqueline Louie, and I am an executive and leadership team coach based here in Davao region. As we progress towards our future, our beliefs, life practices, surroundings, including livelihood, are changing rapidly. We ourselves are defining our own evolution as we are about to step into 2023 and the possibilities along with uncertainties. Let us unbox this together. So we will be joined by the OD Consulting Head of Nomura Research Institute Manila office. And NRI is one of the leading global think tank, fintech, and management consulting companies. Our guest is also the immediate past president of Philippine Society for Talent Development. June has expertise in OD, HR, talent development, and corporate performance management. He is also one of the leading voices in sustainability culture in the Philippines. Philippines. Please help me welcome Mr. Juan Roy.
Thank you, Jackie, and welcome everyone to this wonderful segment. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you.
excited.
Yeah, me too, June. So hello to you again and a warm welcome to
Hello.
you in this segment. So, I would like to capture right away your moment here. No, so
All right.
with the with the consensus views showing that the Philippine economy is recovering by the fourth quarter of 2022. So, what skills, capabilities, and behaviors are most critical going forward and offer us a true competitive advantage as a country?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Thank you for that, and very important one, especially in our role as HR practitioners. So I would cite three in the interest of time. So that would be sustainability, entrepreneurial skills, and education management. So when I cited these three, we are not looking into the corporate structure only, but we are looking at the entire Filipino workforce. So when we look at sustainability, for instance, so that's basically malasakit towards our planet, people, and progress. So if you're talking about what is skills, capabilities, and behaviors that are critical moving us forward, for me, the foundation, it's that malasakit that we care not only for our nation's progress, but also for our people, the communities that we live in, and the planet. Not only for today, but for our next generation. So for me, that's the foundation. And as HR practitioners, it's also our responsibility to develop the capability of others. And I'm not sure, maybe this is the takeaway that I'd like to share. And if you can flash and share the inner development goals, can we show that? Yeah, before that, sorry, I did not notice. No, so when you talk about 2022 being a good year for our economy, we also have to temper the expectations because uh, 19.99 million Filipinos still live below the poverty threshold, and a lot of these also belong to the Filipino workforce. Uh, if you can imagine that 99.5% of our enterprises belong to the MSMEs. And if you look at PMAP as people managers, so people managers are also those who are heading, not necessarily because they're HR, but because they're managing the people and the workforce within these MSMEs. And 19.99 million uh, living below poverty line is staggering to say the least. And so the question that you ask is meaningful in that context. No? And so if we can share the other slide, yeah. So this is something new. Uh, a lot of HR probably have heard about our SDGs or Sustainability Development Goals. There are 17 of that. Poverty is one. Fighting for hunger is another one. Diversity, inclusion, equity, and belonging is also another. But what can accelerate and enable all of the efforts that are being done by the government, by United Nations, by the different companies. And so this is one thing that can accelerate the achievement of our SDGs. And we call this the inner development goals. It's not from NRI, it's from the same institution that has crafted the inner development goals. So just Google it. But if you can see just a glimpse of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you will know that a lot of these soft skills will drive our nation's progress, especially on our ability to empathize and take care of the three P's, the people, planet, and progress. So the challenge for HR now is how we can develop the Filipino workforce to become champions of the SDGs or sustainability, if you may, using the inner development goals. So you can see there a lot of the skill set that we can tap so that they become champions. And the other challenge, Jackie, is when we talk about PMAPS membership, even PSTD or ODPN, we're talking about the big corporations. But what about the MSMEs, the sari-sari stores, the small groceries, those in the rural areas? They're also the Filipino workforce. And those managing them are also people managers. And again, if you go back to that 99.5% of the Filipino enterprises come from MSMEs. So how do we accelerate their development? So there are insights that can be acted upon here. And one is how might we refocus or if not expand the corporate social responsibility and what you can call the CSR or the sustainability programs of companies who are more mature in empowering communities and these MSMEs and imparting these kind of capabilities like the inner development goals. So that's sustainability. The other one is entrepreneurial skills. So for the academe, that means curriculum in developing entrepreneurial minds capabilities. So if you are in the corporate office, that means developing the employees' financial and business acumen so that they don't only rely on their livelihood to the company because a lot of this workforce still belong to the poverty line. And so empowering them to also take care of their own livelihood, that's the other part of inclusion. That's prosperity inclusion. And for the government, it's about strengthening the MEs. And we have a conversation before, I remember, with PMAP, with Ellen, and with the others, no, about how we can, let's say, model our MSME development like that with India. So if you are in HR, then it's too big for you to handle. So uh, the actionable insight here is as an HR or people manager in your company, how do you build that entrepreneurial skills? How do you expand your CSR program to also capacitate those who are in the communities? And when you talk about, again, MSMEs, another implications of that, it's really the capability building that I mentioned a while ago. The third one, it's about education management. We are 129th in the Global Competitive Index, one of the lowest in Asia. And that's not good. We are 90th from 79th before in enabling talent. So if we who are in the business of empowering and managing people, we can do a lot beyond our own respective companies. So again, how we can rechannel our free resources, how we can rechannel and expand our programs to also cover this part. No? So if you talk about the skills for the future, sustainability, entrepreneurial skills, and strengthening our capability to educate people so that we don't lag behind in competitiveness are the three keys to making it sure that we become competitive as a nation. So this might sound a little, veering away from the typical findings of what the skills and capabilities that are, focusing only at the job level. or at the company level? Because your question is as a country. And so for
Yeah.
us, these are the three ones:
Yeah.
sustainability, entrepreneurial, and education management.
Wow, that's very comprehensive, June. And I love what you mentioned that we can really start within our sphere of control, and that is people. And it's emphasized there, it's really the being. So it's evolving that space,
True.
reimagining, and also regenerating forward. And on the
Right.
entrepreneurial, I can remember it's really taking calculated risks in
Mhm,
order
mhm,
for you to complete your goal. And the third emphasis that you mentioned is about bridging gaps. There's a gap now. So there's,
huge.
yeah, a huge gap. So there's a need to retool, there's a need to really upskill, or there's a need to reskill the talents that are coming in the companies today. Wow, that's really very big. So I think we can really compete if we can focus on those three. So now, June, when they are already in the organization, what do you think could be the culture shifts? As you
Mhm,
mentioned,
mhm,
it's three emphasis
mhm,
now. What could be the culture shifts needed to support a
mhm,
people and
mhm.
digital workforce of the future?
Right. So, focusing on the needs of organizations and companies, uh, I can see three cultures that needs to be strengthened. One at the foundation is the culture of excellence. The other one is the agile culture, and the third one, which we at NRI are espousing, and this is something new, is sustainability culture. Sustainability is not new, culture is not new, but putting them together is the new imperative and focus for HR and OD professionals. No, excellence. There's no debate that in every organization, for me, that is a foundational culture, because that would involve developing a deeper empathy to anticipate the requirements of your customers, delivering products and solutions of high value. And when every organization and every members of that organization delivers products and solutions of the highest value, that would automatically enhance our overall competitiveness, not only as a person, as a company, but also as a country. And the other one, as a foundation of excellence culture, is growth mindset. And so that would address the challenges that we have purported a while ago. Because in that excellence culture where there is growth mindset, people learn new things, new skills, they become better, they champion new approaches. And the other one that would support that is agile culture, and that's tied up to excellence. So there is a spirit of experimentation. I heard a while ago about innovation, focusing on speed, and at the heart of what it means to be agile, which fortunately already adopted by the Project Management Institute, is servant leadership. And when there is servant leadership, excellence can also be propagated within the organization. And lastly, it's about sustainability culture. So when every uh, person in the organization, both from the corporate, the MSMEs, become champions of not only of the environment, of social, of governance. So imagine what kind of society and world we will live in when everyone becomes sustainability culture champions, if you may. And okay, everyone might be a far shot, but if you have 10,000 employees, or imagine about 1 million employees, just pick 10,000 of that, right? 10,000. That's a good number to start with. Multiply that by 10, right? Meaning 10 in their lifetime they can influence, and those 10, right, can influence another 10. And you can see where the numbers are going. Can be exponential in terms of growth. So companies, for me, should be able to develop as a baseline this excellence, agile, and sustainability culture. Then all the other culture shifts uh, can can have the platform like digital culture and other types of culture. So yeah, Jackie, that's for me:
Yeah.
sustainability, excellence, and agile.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, June. And to me, my takeaway for that is the book, or the thoughts of Simon Sinek on the
Hmm.
infinite game. So
Oh yeah.
we have to think in this world that we can give more than we can take. so that it will be sustainable. So our future generations will really have something to harness in the future because we give more than we take. So June, I know you have another appointment at
Yeah.
1:50. Would you like to
Yes.
say anything to our viewers today?
All right. So thank you for the opportunity, PMAP for this and Jackie for having this conversation. So for me, the takeaway here should be about what is our role as people managers, not only within our company but in our community for nation building. And we can start with being good role models in the sustainability space. We can become the sustainability champion in our family, and we can affect those people that we come across, starting again with our own family and then in our department. And if we can do that, then I see momentum going into the direction where more and more people become sustainability heroes, if you may. And
Wow.
for me, that's the key.
Wow. Thank you so much, June. Once again, the OD Consulting Head of Nomura Research Institute, June Roy. So I would like
Thank
to
you.
bring this, yeah, thank you so much, June, and Merry Christmas to you. And I would like to bring this back to you, Joanne.
Thank you so much, Jackie and June. Thank you so much. I really love the insights, and I can just imagine how much we can do if we will all collaborate. And we have so many tools with us. We have so much data, similar to what June has just shared with us this afternoon. And I cannot just imagine what we can do, how much we can do to address all the challenges, the gap in business, in people capability, if we will really leverage on all these information that is available for us. So again, thanks a lot for sharing, and I hope that we will be able to invite you again to have more conversation around this. Again, thank you. All right, so we will move now to our fourth segment, the fourth letter in the acronym of PMAP, letter P, Prick Your Heart. I'm so excited that we have again our segment host. She is back with us again this afternoon, the People and Culture Director of Expressions Stationery Shop, Joan Chu. Hi, Joan. Good afternoon.
Hi, Joanne. Good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So, like what Ms. Joanne mentioned, I'm the People and Culture Director of Expression Stationery Shop Incorporated. And welcome to Perk Your Heart. This is our final segment of our last episode of the year. Now, in this episode, we will zero in on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have invited an expert to enlighten us on this topic. So, for decades, our expert has led change initiatives to elevate organization wide talent development in high tech financial services businesses in the US and Asia. She achieved this over and over again with a bridgehead strategy, introducing systemic change in a target area where transformation gained a secure foothold before spreading more widely. Joining us all the way from Arizona, USA, let us welcome the founder of Inclusion Bridgehead, none other than Miss Grace Nakar. Good afternoon,
Hi.
Grace. Hi.
Good afternoon. Merry Christmas, everyone. Kamusta?
Thank you for gracing us tonight.
It's my
Well, for you
pleasure.
tonight, no?
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
tonight.
So, as I shared before, no, like DEI is fairly new here in the Philippines, and we do not have much information about it. Maybe you can help us understand what DEI is all about.
Yes, since DEI is quite new in the Philippines, as you said,
Yeah.
it'll be helpful to have some common language, right,
Mm-hmm.
on the keywords and concepts. So, as we agreed beforehand,
Yes.
I will depart from the format and share just 3 slides to do this. And I
Sure.
promise I won't go beyond 5 minutes. So, first, let's go through some key definitions. Diversity is the unique and diverse mix of identities each of us has. Some we're born with, some others acquired. And the
Mhm.
iceberg is a good metaphor for diversity. We can see above the waterline, and there's so much more diversity below the waterline that's invisible. And then inclusion is about ensuring that everyone of all backgrounds, right, can feel like they belong. And especially for those, but inclusion, especially for people who are different from you, doesn't happen automatically. It's like losing weight. You know what to do, but you don't do it. And such the case in inclusion.
Okay.
And then equity is about equitable access to opportunities for everyone, again, regardless of background. So let's take a closer look at that picture. On the left side, you'll see equality means treating everyone the same, like giving them the same height of the box. On the right side, equity means accommodating people's diversity so that they have access to opportunity available to all. So to achieve equity, we need to decrease barriers, right? In
Yeah.
policies, practices, like removing the fence in that picture, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes it's as obvious as that. So each one, diversity, inclusion, and equity, build on each other. And we need to pursue each intentionally and in synchrony, right? And so let's go to the next slide. So this diversity dimensions model will help us understand why people minimize the importance of diversity. When people hear the word diversity, like when I go to the Philippines, no, that's not our problem. The women, we have many women leaders, and then check, like, and
And
so
that's
they
it.
limit the scope, yeah, of differences to the identities you see in the primary circle:
Yeah.
gender, race, age, etc. And you're
Mhm.
born with most of these primary diversity dimensions, and they're protected by law in varying degrees.
Yeah.
But diversity dimensions are important because they're like lenses, right? You filter the world, and they go way beyond just these primary diversity dimensions. So the secondary circle includes diversity dimensions over which you generally have more control and may change over time, like which region or province you came from, which
Mhm.
school did you go to, what social economic class were you born into, or whether you grew up in a single parent family.
Yeah.
And are you beginning to see how in the Philippines there are many diverse identities and backgrounds that are discriminated against? June just talked about, right, the poverty gap and all of that, right? But they're in our midst, right? Those with humble beginnings are amongst us all the time. And there are unique gifts in people coming from these backgrounds that are overlooked,
Right.
right? The business related circle includes diversity dimensions like which profession you're in, where you sit in the hierarchy, whether you're located in HQ or the field office. And again, you can see diverse identities that have unequitable access to opportunities. So by now, let's go to the third slide. You may be wondering, so where do we start, right? And so this last slide will provide a framework of growing your inclusion skills. So the first level is the intrapersonal, which is looking inward to whether you recognize and honor your own mix of the diversity dimensions. Then the interpersonal level are the skills related one on one with others who are different from you in background or identities. Next is group level skills, which is about leading and participating in groups while leveraging difference in addressing conflicts over difference. And then the organization level skill is how you advocate for the org level. But you can see the ISM pyramid shape indicates that you have to build a strong base. Otherwise, the DI initiatives at the org level will collapse
Mhm.
without a solid foundation. So that's my quick recap. And you can stop sharing, Martin. So,
All right.
yeah.
So you covered basically everything, no, in a nutshell, no. So this is a very good summary of what this is about, how we start, no. Like you mentioned, especially in the last slide, I want to focus on that for a moment, no. You mentioned that it has to start from within. So it's
Yes.
basically like a mindset, no. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but how do we practice this? Is it like a muscle, like we build it? We have to
Yes.
have that awareness, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so right. You got it.
Mm-hmm.
DI at its core is compassion for
Okay.
your own difference as well as the differences of others. And so I would encourage people, if you're going to be sharing the slides or what with people, look at that the diversity dimension wheel as a starting point and just start with yourself. Which of those identities are meaningful for you, and yet you're covering them.
Mm-hmm.
Because
So
as
it's
long
also
as
like
you,
acceptance.
yeah,
There's also like
yeah,
a acceptance.
precisely, precisely,
Um,
and more than acceptance, being proud, right?
mhm.
Being proud of how you're different. Because if you can't be proud of your own difference, how can you appreciate the difference of anyone else? Say, oh, I don't. That doesn't matter to me. Let's all be just the same. It's like you'll never get it, right?
Right, right. Now let's shift towards the business side. In the US, it seems like there are a lot of laws or policies that support DEI. In the
Hmm.
Philippines, there's not much yet,
Yeah.
except like for women. Like it's mostly about women. No, um,
Yes.
what should we focus on? Like how or when? Like when do we know when we're ready for that, or should we just initiate ourselves?
Yeah. Well, I was struck by all of the previous speakers. They all reference culture, right? And June in particular, I liked his best. Sorry, I have to
Mm-hmm.
admit, I liked his presentation best because he used the word inclusive growth, right?
Uh-huh.
So including those who are poor. So it's Filipinos, mabait naman tayo, 'di ba? We have all of
Mm-hmm.
this pakikisama, all of our values. But what's missing is if you will, the particularity
Uh-huh.
of difference. You say, "Hi, I love you all," but then there's unconscious bias, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pero, I mean, the first one, Fry said, "Of course, there's the top 5 schools. Bias ka
Okay.
agad, no?" See, it's floating around us, and so I have to go back to saying you have to start with your own self and doing self education. But
Uh-huh.
for the business, aside from laws in the states, right? It's about look at your employee population, look at your customer base. They are
Mhm.
diverse. And
Right.
so, from a business reality, not only the moral thing to do, but it's a necessity. You may not know it, right? People are leaving you customers, you're not attracting them. The
Right. Right.
invisible gap is you're not appreciating their difference.
Right. So it's not just about practicing it, but it's about appreciating
Mhm.
not only our employees but also our customers, no? Because at the end of
Yes.
it, no, parang it's a common belief.
Mhm.
Parang napansin ko that
Mm-mm.
sometimes if your customers do not believe in the values of the organization, then they
Right.
also do not support the business, no? So it's
Right.
that as well.
It has a powerful effect. I loved
Mm-hmm.
how Jack kanina
Mm-hmm.
greeted in Bisaya. I'm
Yeah.
sure the people who are Bisaya were like, oh, we're drawn in more closely. So your customers look for people who are like them. Where
Mm-hmm.
there's that little sign that says, oh, from my province, oh, from my, school, oh, from my,
Right.
that will attract. So yeah, it just makes business sense. Mhm.
Thank you so much. Now we have a few minutes left. No, so maybe just to wrap up, what do you think is the bottom line of why should we should do this? You mentioned about compassion. No, what is your
Yes.
advice on how to have this as part of our lives?
Yeah. I'll say something simple, right? You may not know someone's diversity story,
Mm-hmm.
but you can be sure they have one.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
you lead with already, I don't know the circumstance, but I'll be compassionate about the particularity of their circumstance. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Miss Grace. Now, uh, this segment has really touched my heart. No, has enlightened me in so many ways and has opened our minds. No, I hope that it also helped you, know, our audience, and in your respective families, in your respective households, your companies. I hope that we can also encourage this kind of mindset. So
Yeah.
again, thank you so much, Miss Grace, for your time.
And thank you, Joan. And I want to point out, I appreciate your Chinese gear. So, yeah. See, honoring your Chinese
Thank you.
heritage. Yay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
All
Take
right.
care.
Now back to you, Miss Joanne.
Thank you so much, Joan, and thank you so much, Miss Grace. I know it's really very late at your end, but you are with us. really appreciate your insights, especially what you said about, starting with the individual. Me personally, I have joined some organizations because I want to know more about the biases that I have, and this has been really very enlightening for me, and then of course really helpful for me to appreciate the diversity. And I think you mentioned about the stories of the people around me, and I agree with you. It really has to start with each individual. Thanks a lot, Miss Grace, for that, for those insights. And of course, I want to thank all our other guests, Ms. Frylene Carilla, Assistant Division Head of Monroe Consulting Group Asia, Mr. Joel Santos, Co-founder and President of Thames International Business School, Mr. Jun Roy, Consulting Sector Head of Nomura Research Institute, and of course, the last conversation we had with Ms. Grace Nakar, founder of Inclusion Bridgehead. So thank you so much for all your insights and expertise. And I'm so excited. Let's have everyone back, our segment hosts, and also, of course, if any of our staff and team members are here, we would love you to join us here on screen. All right, so I'm so excited. How are you? How's 2022? And I'm curious to know about your thoughts about your segments, and also, of course, what does that mean for us, people leaders, as we go to 2023? Who would like to start?
I can go first, Miss
Thanks,
Joanne.
Gilbert.
I think our discussion with Mr. Joel really stuck with my heart. As we enter the new year, you have to be very clear about your why. And I resonated on the fact that when you know your why, it's easy to connect with the whats and the whys of the other people and the other stakeholders, which is the very essence of HR and people leaders, right? We help people, we lobby for the success of the people. And I think that's what I will be doing for 2023.
Thank you so much, Gilbert. Yes, that's a really big challenge for us people leaders that we have to embrace. Thanks,
Yeah.
Gilbert.
Mhm.
So who'd like to go next?
Okay,
Sure.
I'd like to, yeah. Well, Sir Gilbert said you have to know your why. Mine is you have to know your Z. That's Generation Z. As we try to attract them into the workforce, it
Yeah.
has drastically changed because of the pandemic.
It's true.
But Ms. Frylin has actually presented it in a very exciting way that you just can't resist. You need to go back to the workplace. Any which way you negotiate, any which way you bargain, you get what you negotiate. That is the rule of the game. So looking forward to 2023, and I hope that COVID-19 will stay back in 2022.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Joe. So from Y to Z, always
Yeah.
like your witty thoughts.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, I would like also to segue to that or dovetail with that with letter P. Okay, so in letter P. So it's people, and it's the harmony of people and the planet. And if there's harmony between these two, there will really be prosperity. So for us, people and people leaders, I was also reflecting that if in order for us to really sustain the current and our future, we need to be guided by this principle that we can, if only we can give more than we can take, there's really something that will be left for our generations and the generations to come.
thanks a lot. So we're going through the alphabet now.
Siyempre, hindi ako papahuli, di ba?
Joe,
Alright,
go
so meron na tayong Y, meron tayong Z, meron tayong P, no? Now, let's go with you and I.
Oh, galing.
I like that.
Pero sabi nga ni Miss Grace, di ba, we have to see the differences. We have to acknowledge the differences of each individual. No, so there's acceptance, there's pride. I so love the sharing, no, of Miss Grace. Now there's a lot of insights into how we are all different from each other. Yet the fact that we can accept each other as who we are, no, it sort of is ano na, parang ano na tayo, parang the same in a way, no? Parang ano na nagiging uh, inclusion, nagiging inclusion na siya. So I love how she put that out like that. And I hope no for 2023, we will all have that mindset as we enter the new year. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love all the letters and the alphabets. And yes, they really speak a lot about what we people leaders are facing, what we have embraced, and what we will continue to do. I mean, these are the challenges that we will also encounter as we move forward to 2023. Thank you so much, Gilbert, Jackie, Jove, and Joan. And to everyone who's watching us, it has been a great year. We spent with you for, I mean, this is our last episode for the year, but definitely we will see you again in 2023. And I want to say you've done a good job as people leaders. You know, you have been, kudos to you. Recovery in 2022 was really not easy. We went through a lot, but we closed 2022 with so many lessons, so many blessings, so many things to be grateful for. Of course, we talked about innovation, so there's just a lot of things that we embraced, so many things that we did to overcome everything that we faced in 2022. I end this episode with so much gratitude for all of you, and I do hope that we will see you again in 2023. If you would like to know more about what we have done for the past 12 months, please check out People Manager Magazine online at www.peoplemanager.ph. And if you would love to join PMAP, please contact PMAP. The contact details are below. People Manager is open to sponsorship. Contact Martin. His details are also available on screen right now. And we would love to know how we can partner together. As we close the year, I want to acknowledge and introduce, of course, everyone who has been supporting this committee and the people behind the program. So Martin, Sarah, Jansen, would really love to see you. Hi, this Martin and Sarah, Delius, so many. These are the talents who have really made sure that we are able to deliver, great topics, great guests, and who made sure that this show and also the magazine are able to deliver what we need as HR practitioners in the country. So thank you so much, Martin. Thank you, Sarah.
Before we go, I'd like to make a special shout out to Cecil Ramos Carlos.
Yes,
And
Cecil
looking forward to
Lawrence.
having you again in our future segments.
I
Thank
agree.
you.
I agree. JV as well. So many. I'm not able to name everyone, but you know who you are. Thank you so much. Of course, I really would also like to thank our president, Ms. Ellen Pulido, the COPA and the board of trustees, and all the members of the committee, PMAP's branding and marketing, media and communications committee. Thank you so much. Jove, thank you so much for being very patient with us as our editor-in-chief of the People Manager magazine. Really appreciate. And of course, we hope to all the viewers, thank you so much. It has been such a huge blessing to be your partners in delivering topics that are of significance and value as we go through leading our people in our organizations. I hope that this last episode was very helpful and insightful, and that is our gift for you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Merry
and a
Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.